Yep. Good morning, everyone. So last session examples related to timer events. So we discussed about all the timer events and I asked you to try one exercise on that. Have you finished it? Huh? Able to achieve that? Huh? Already I posted a lab group. Into the lab group already we learned about it. Huh? So in the lab group, many people posted. I saw that everyone others achieved it. I asked you to try the example to finish the process, right? Timer in the lab group, some people already posted the solutions. Others also you can post your solution there. I will give some tasks. Already other people posted. If you are unable to do, check that what they have done. Already other people have solved the solution. So you check other people's what they posted, according to that you try. Okay. And what is the previous example we are trying? We will finish this example also. So we are learning about how to handle debounce and throttle like options. Right. So interval demo, we are using another one, right? That is carousel demo. In a carousel demo, we achieved the manual control, manually how to move to next and previous. We designed that. Rest we have to create now. Yep, this is the design we created. In this design, we achieved the manual approach. Manual approach is what? When user clicks the next button, the next product will load. That is the next product that is going to load. And when user clicks previous, the previous product will come. We are fetching the data from fake store API and we are designing this. Now what should happen here? One more logic we need to implement. Whenever we are moving the next, this slider also should move. So the seek bar value, this is the seek bar we are having. Its value depends on which product you are currently viewing that we need to implement. Let's see. So what is our code here is in the carousel demo, we declared one product ID. This product ID having a reference. This reference is a thread which we need to apply to the slider also. To this slider, we need to apply that. So what is it? For this input type range, we need to add value. Value is coming from where? So it is coming from product ID. Product ID dot what? Current. Current is the thread reference, and that thread reference is going to apply to this one. So default minimum maximum also we need for this. What is the minimum number? The range minimum starts with what? 1. Max is how many? 20. Because in that they have 20 products in API. And this is the data. Usually when we start, when we move from here, when I slide this, it will not work because for that on change is not written. We haven't written anything. But when I click the next, then the seek bar will change. When we are clicking the next, the seek bar will change. When we click previous, the previous will come. So that is same thing. Whatever the product ID is incremented, that ID we assign to the seek bar. Now we need to make this seek bar also function. When user moves the seek bar, the value of the seek bar should be applied to product ID. So what we have to do now, we need to write a change event for the seek bar. Function handle seek bar change. How to get the value of seek bar? By using event argument. Event argument event dot target dot value. We can get that. And where to assign it? We need to assign to product ID now. That means what we have to do, product ID dot what? Current is equal to e dot target dot value. And this product ID, it should load. That means what we have to do, load product. Load product is expecting an ID, and ID is product ID dot what? Current. I saw many of you people have done this also, and they have submitted already in lab group. 1 or 2 people already designed this auto also. Play pause button click. Some people already designed and submitted. I saw some of them. 1-2 people already done this. It's very good job. So already I asked you to try. 1-2 people already tried and designed successfully and posted. You are in the lab group. You joined the lab group. I posted the lab group into the classroom. Into classroom, I posted the lab group link. Join it and post your examples there. Okay. Now here seek bar change should happen here. What is it? When the track bar is changing, here we have to write what is the event? On change. Handle what? Seek bar change. Now what this happens, this allows to move this. When I move this one, then the next product will come. We can control it by using the seek bar also. Seek bar also allows to change the product, the previous and the next. So this is done with manual approach. Manually, user can click next and previous, or user can move the seek bar. Now we need to design auto. Auto means what? When user clicks play button, every few seconds it should change. Every few seconds it should be able to change. Every 5 seconds a new image should come. Just like you have a carousels in websites, they change the images every few seconds. So how do we do this now? We need to implement one mechanism. What is that mechanism? Every few seconds it should change. So in JavaScript, what do you call this as? Throttle. Every few seconds it should change. Then JavaScript throttle mechanism we have to implement. And it is done by using what? Set interval. By using set interval, we do this. Let's see. Now we need another function. Actually, this load product function is expecting a product. When you pass the ID, it will load it. But when I click play button, I will not pass any ID. Automatically, the product should change every few seconds. So this is okay for manual, but for auto control, we need one function which automatically increments the product ID and it changes. So what we need to do is we will create another function, load product auto. This function will not ask us to enter any product ID. It will automatically increment. Already the product ID is 1, right? It should increment automatically. So you know what to do. Product ID dot what? Current product ID dot current plus 1. It automatically increments. After automatically incrementing this product ID, it should load. So we have a function called load product. Load product has to load which one? Product ID dot what? Current. This automatically loads. So load product auto is going to increment the product ID and load. Here again I will leave some conditions for you. What are the conditions? Because you have only 20 products, when the count reaches 20, it should stop. How? You write a simple condition where product ID is 20. What you have to do? Clear interval. Then it will stop. So you have to implement other concept, and now this load product auto we have to start when user clicks the play button. So we need a function handle play click. On play click, every few seconds that function should execute. Throttle. So to throttle, what we have to use? Set interval. Which function should throttle? Load product auto. That function should throttle. How much time? Some 5 seconds I will give. That means 5000 milliseconds. 5000 milliseconds it should work. Okay. Now I should able to cancel this. To cancel this, it needs a memory reference. Na? It doesn't have any memory reference. Let's create a memory reference for that. How to create a memory reference? LET. What we will use? Thread is equal to what? Use ref. And what is the default? Null. And we need to assign this to the thread. No? What we have to do? Thread dot current is equal to, we are assigning this so that we can cancel it anytime. How do you cancel it? We have a function. What is the function? Handle pause click. On pause click, we need to clear the interval. So what you have to do? Clear interval. Which one? Thread dot what? Current. It will clear. Now these two have to work on play and pause. Two buttons are there. This button is play button. What should happen? On click. Handle which one? Play click. Handle play click. Another on click. What is it? Handle pause click. Handle pause click. That is the logic. One more we will do. When user clicks the play button, I want to know the status. Is it playing or not? I want to show a status. Just basically here what we do, we will create another state, constant state. This is like status, set status is equal to use state. It is empty message. Status is empty. The status message we will display here. Where to display it? Under the title, we will keep a div, and here we will put the status. I will give the status as a class font size. A font weight is bold. That's enough. Status is nothing but it will show whether it is playing or paused. So what we do, on play click, we will set status. What is the status? Slide show playing. Something like this message we will give. On pause click, what should happen? Set status. What is it? Slideshow as what? Pause. We'll put the message as pause so that we can easily see the status here, right? So if I don't give this, default status will come. Now what should happen here is when I click on play. When I click on play, now slideshow is playing. Every 5 seconds, the image should change. And when image is changing, you can see the seek bar also changing. Seek bar also changing. And I click on pause, then it should say slideshow paused. Slideshow paused means that image is paused now. It is not moving. Again, when it will resume, when you click the play. Same thing you have to implement in the track bar previous example. In previous example also same. When I click play button, what should happen? It starts playing from that particular location. The next one will be displayed there. When I click play, it will start from that particular position. And important is here, when I say pause, it is pause. I can click on back, it will go to the previous. I can click next, it will come to the next. That means you can manually control also. I want to start from here, click on play, it starts playing. It starts playing from the position where you stop. It will continue from there on. So this is the concept you need to implement. I want this image to come from right side, left side, or top or bottom. You remembered we designed keyframes, na? I showed you rotating, I showed you zooming, like effects we applied through keyframes. You can try that on image. If you try those keyframes on image, you can slide the image from right. You can make the image transform, slowly fade in, fade out. You can implement that. In this example, we are controlling all the concept. Manual control is there, auto control is there. Manual control is through buttons we can control, and it is working on the seek bar. Through seek bar also we can control. Through seek bar also I can move, and I can use the play button. See the height of this increasing, decreasing, that depends on how much height you given. Because some titles are large, some titles are small, sorry. Yeah. Some titles are large, some titles are small. So better what you do, you keep the header, what is it, style, and set a fixed height for it. If you set a fixed height like 60 or 70 pixel, it is fixed with that height. So that for large titles increasing, small titles decreasing, it will not happen. It will have a fixed one, right? And still, as I told you, you need to implement some more logic in this. What is the logic? When it reaches end, it should stop. When it reaches end, actually it will continue because you are giving +1. But what is the maximum limit of products we are having? 20. So what you need to do? you just put a logic here. See, you have to write logic on next click also. If next click, when they click next, if it is ID is 20, then put a message. This is the last. You cannot proceed. Again, set the product ID to how much? 20. That means it should stop at 20. If they click previous more than 1, before 1 means how much? 0. If it is 0, again set it to how much? 1. It should stop at 1. It should not move to 0. In auto, you need to write one more logic. However, seek bar, no problem, because seek bar will not allow to go out of the range, right? And auto also one logic you need to write. What is it? If product ID is equal to how much? 20. Then clear timeout. Clear time interval. Interval means it will stop. Understood? You need to implement the logic. Here I am giving a comment. So what you have to do, stop timer. So when a product ID is equal to how much? 20. Understood? Now one more thing is here what we have to do. Here if ID is equal to 20, then set end of show. Okay. So if ID is equal to 0, then set ID is equal to how much? 1. End of show and set ID is equal to 20. You need to implement these options. I hope you can try those options. Right? Simple conditions you need to write now. Right. So I will copy this example. This is the example of how we can handle throttle. In these examples, we can implement lot more concepts. In the next levels, you will see. Because we have some third parties, we will use those third parties and implement. What is that third parties? Actually, for example, if I am clicking here, play button, it is showing a message, slideshow playing. But how do I know how much time I need to wait? Then what you can do, you can put spinners. Spinners will show the message. What message they show? Spinners will show the message that loading. Please wait. Once the time interval finished, then it should display. For that, we have some third-party plugins. We will add them. Later, we will see in other concept how to handle. You can implement that easily. So this is two important things. One is how to handle the throttle, how to handle debounce. Almost every React and JavaScript interviews, you will find questions on these two topics. Out of 100 interviews you attend, 100. Every interview have a question about throttle and debounce. Because these are the major concepts that play key role in handling tasks in memory. Every application tasks, actually in your backend applications, you do that by using multi-threading. Java, .NET and other technologies will teach you a concept of multi-threading. If JavaScript based technologies, we have set timeout and set interval. Through debounce mechanism and throttle, we manage this. Some more you will learn in state management and all. When we learn some more state management techniques, you will learn. You see, as I told you, you started a transaction. Transaction should finish in 5 seconds. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you don't finish the transaction, it will say that your session timeout. And automatically it will log out and it will go to the initial page. Suppose you are using a bank application. You are not doing any work until 5 seconds or 5 minutes. Automatically it will sign out. Such concepts we can implement by using this. For that, we will learn some state management. Usually in JavaScript already you learned state management. What are the state management techniques you learned in JavaScript? Cookies, session storage, local storage, and query string. These are state management. By using them, we can implement such. In next level, we will see how to do that, right? Initially, I will give one more task you have to try. You understood this now? Based on this, I will give you one more task you have to try. What is your task is? So the task for you is based on this. The task is try designing a stopwatch. Try designing a stopwatch. You try designing a stopwatch. I will show you the stopwatch. So you try designing the stopwatch. Suppose this is a stopwatch widget. So you see this is a stopwatch. This is a stopwatch widget. You try designing this stopwatch. What happens is this is milliseconds now. When I click start, now the milliseconds are scrolling. After 100 to 900 milliseconds, if it reaches 900, then 1 second will increment. After that, when seconds is equal to 60, then 1 minute will come. 1 minute is going to display. 1 minute is going to display. This is you need to implement. That means automatically when it reaches 59, then what will happen? It will say 1 minute. After that 59 minutes, after that 60 minutes, it will be 1 hour. And actually this stop will stop there. It is nothing but pause. Again click on it, then it will resume. Now we designed 2 buttons. How one button can do that both tasks? In JavaScript you learned toggle na? Already here also I showed you. Once click, you can change the title or class name. Toggling we can easily implement. Class names we can change. We learned class binding na? Through class binding you can implement the message and you can try. You put 2 buttons, no problem. You put one start button, you put another stop button, another reset button. When I click reset button, it should reset here. Everything set to 0. Can you try? Need any help? You want me to give any tips? Or watching this is enough, you can try? No? What? Will you try by yourself or you need any help? Any tips? Such things you tried in JavaScript? If you have tried in such things in JavaScript timers, it is easy, you can do. Suppose ticking every second, ticking and displaying is a simple thing. For example, you see here, which one? Timer demo, na? We created one timeout demo. Yeah. Actually, here we have timer. So what we do, this is nothing but set the timer is what? Now dot now. Now dot to local time string. It will get the time. Actually, what we are doing here, we are displaying the timer. This is nothing but this is our previous example. Timeout demo I will add here. So here you see the time is ticking continuously. What we have done, we collected the current time, we loaded in a state. Every second we are printing it. That means the time is ticking. Every 1 second, the time is changing. Every 1 second, the time is changing. Just what you have to do, create count. Every millisecond, it should tick. Every millisecond, it should tick. And it should increment the values. I will help up to 1-2 points. You try. Okay, I will just give a glance of tips I will give. You try to do that. Okay, understood? So this is a timer. What is the timer concept? Simple. In the timer concept, what we have done, clock is a function. Clock function is collecting the current date and time. In that, we are collecting the current time and loading the current time into state. And the time we are displaying here. And use effect, what it is doing, every 1000 milliseconds, it is executing that function. That will get the current time and it will show. This is for creating a simple time. This is another example of time ticking. This is the time ticking related example. Okay, na? So this is which one? This is carousel demo. So the carousel demo dot what JSX. You can try this also. This is time ticking. Let me show you some tips about this stopwatch. You can try. Yeah? So let's create another component. Let's go to the components. So this is what is it? Stopwatch. Okay. Add stopwatch dot JSX. Okay. Export function stopwatch and return. So we'll just keep a div container fluid. Okay. And here I will keep another division. Okay, let's make this as deflex justify content center. So here I will keep this class margin top 4, border is 1, and it will be row. How many columns we need here? So W25, I will give 25 or 50 is enough. How many columns? Hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds. 4 na? So class is what? Call. We will divide into 4 columns. 4. And here actually we will display the hours value. And here the minutes and the seconds and milliseconds. So those are the values we need. We will give some padding is 2. Okay. So this is stopwatch. I will keep this in the startup. Okay. It is empty now, and actually this will have a style. Height as suppose 50 or 60, 100 pixel. We have the height for that. So border is there actually, and I'll give border as dark. Border dark will keep the border so that you can see it. There is a border. Now what we will do is, in this hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds we need to display. Let's keep a button here. After this we will add one more row. Okay. Below this we will keep a button. and class btn primary, and here I will just give a start. So that is the start button we are having. And this is outside. This is inside also. Okay, and margin top. Okay, that is the button we are having. Because in this still content is not there, we will keep some content there. Here what we have to display? Hours. Here we have to display minutes. Here we have to display seconds. Seconds, and here we have to display milliseconds. Milliseconds, huh? Like this. So those are the values we need to display. I think where this is the div we are having. Yeah. So this extra div, I will remove that. Just in the design, we will add one more row. Okay. Fine. So here where we will keep this button in another row now. This is related to the parent. Fine. Because I given width 50, the width 50 doesn't fit everywhere. I will change that also. We'll remove this width 50. Now it is fine. Huh? And here we can add the button. BTN primary and start. Okay. Margin top as 4. Okay. Now here, because when we put some W100, that is already there, class W100. Here I will give width. Width is some 800 or 600 pixel. That will increase it. Okay. Fine. Now what we need to do, on start click, we need to display the time. Some seconds we need to show here. How do we display the seconds? Already we know how to increment. Millisecond should start with 100. It should end with 900. 1 to 900 milliseconds, then 1 second should come. Okay. What is the logic here? First, we will create a constant ms, set ms. Ms is what? Milliseconds is equal to, what is it? Use state. Use state. It starts with 100. Huh? Milliseconds start with 100. It will start with 100. 100 to 900. Okay. Okay. Next, what? Here, I will set a simple count increment. I'll set a count increment. Milliseconds, it's okay, starting with 100. Now what we will do is, we will create constant. Here, you need to declare seconds, minutes, another one, hours. Suppose seconds, what we do? Set seconds is equal to initially how much? Use state, it is 0. Seconds is 0. As of now, it is 0. There is no option here. Similarly, we have to write minutes. So, and what set minutes is equal to use state. And be careful because here set seconds, set minutes are already ready-made functions of date. They are already functions of date. So I will just give SEC, set SEC. Okay. Minutes also 0. Similarly, constant, what is that? hours. Set hours is equal to what? Use state, it is 0. Okay. Now what should happen? These values we need to display here. This here we have to get hours and here we have to get minutes. So H hours, minutes, and here we need to display seconds, and here we need to display the milliseconds. Those are the values we need to show. I'm not increasing any font size and all for that. You can set the font size yourself. Suppose I given 50 pixel, height will be smaller. So some 60, I will give here font size as class, font size as 4, font weight as bold. So it will keep little larger numbers. Now when I click on start button, this number should increment. Continuously it should increment. Tell me how. Suppose here you keep this also 0. Later we will start incrementation, right? Now how do we start on that? First we will create a function. What is it? Counter. Suppose I will start the counter. Counter is a function. What this counter has to do, it should increment every few seconds. Directly I can create a variable, and what is it? Suppose count. Count will start with what? 100. Start with 100. Now what should happen? Count should increase by 1. It should increase by 1. So count is equal to, or simply count plus plus. After that, this count value should be assigned to seconds. So what we set milliseconds, ms, set milliseconds is equal to how much? Count. On start click, what should happen? Function, handle, start click. On start click, what should happen? This counter should execute very fast. So what we have to do? Set interval. Which one? Counter. So here I will give 100 milliseconds. 100 milliseconds very fast. 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second. 100 milliseconds I will give. And here one more option what we need to do. We need to set here. What is it? If count is equal to, here itself we will do. Here itself we will write the condition. What is the condition? If count is equal to how much? 900. If count is equal to 900, then set count again to how much? 100. Set to 100. It will repeat that. Now it should execute on handle start click. So start click, on click. On click. What is it? Handle start click. On start click, it should execute and display. It should be very fast. You can give very fast because they have more fast. That means suppose 1, because 100 milliseconds, 1 millisecond only it should calculate, not 100 milliseconds. 1 millisecond is enough. Then you see, I refresh, I click on start, it will be like this. And you can see after reaching 9, it will be again 1. Am I right? Now what should happen when it is 900? Seconds number must be increased by 1. Am I right? Then you can write the logic now. Right? Hours, minutes, seconds you can write. Already 80% implemented. What we have to do, when it reaches 900, then it should increment by 1. Right? And that you need to apply there. And what is the work for you is, you put the pause button, reset button, start buttons. all the buttons. Another point is you try once button click start, again the same button click stop. Toggling. Try toggling. Toggling I will show you. Actually here, when it reaches 100, what should happen now? Very simple, na? So here we will declare another one. What is that? Another option is var. What is it? Seconds is equal to what? How much it is? 0. That means if count is equal to 100, what should happen? Set SEC, set seconds. Here I will give seconds, seconds plus plus. Am I right? Set seconds should be how much? Set seconds will be seconds. That means what happens? Seconds number will be incremented by 1 only when it reaches this 900. Understood? So what should happen? Seconds number we are showing here. Na? So when it goes 900, then it should increment to 1. Again, when it reaches 900, it should be 2. It should be 3. It should increment. When a seconds number will reach to 59, 60, when it reach to 60, then minute number should increment. Am I right? You need to implement this. And you need a pause. Pause, it will pause there. Reset will reset everything to 0. Reset will reset everything to 0. Remember, if you can't do these type of things, never attend any interviews. My suggestion, if you cannot do these type of things, never attend any interviews. Time waste. Time waste for company and you also. Time waste for companies to interview you. Why? Because this is how they test you. These are simple things. They will give you more complex tasks. And these are very common tasks for freshers. For freshers in almost every interview, these kind of tasks are very common. Very common. And majority of the tasks will be given on events, style, class binding, forms. Forms next level we will learn. Because you can't crack any interviews related to React or JavaScript based technologies without practicing these kind of examples. You need to try them. This is how they ask you, right? These are very simple things. More complex will come. Okay. You try this. I hope you can do. Toggling. Toggling is nothing but I showed you class binding na? By using class binding mechanism, we can toggle. For example, once I click start, the button text should turn to stop. How? What we have to do is here we have to create a constant. Okay, btn text and set, what is it? Btn text is equal to use state. Default button text is what? Start. Default button text is start. That we will apply to this button. Here we will not write the start word. Here we will put binding. What is it? btn text. btn text is coming from a state now. This text is actually coming from state. When I click the start button here on start click here we will put a simple logic. What is it? What is it? Set button text. It uses a logic. Actually, it is expecting string. String depends on a logic. We will put a condition. Condition question mark. Condition is what? Condition is if btn text is equal to start, then call question mark. What it should be? Stop. Otherwise it should be what? Start. Understood? That means if already button text is start, then change it to stop. If it is stop, change it to start. It's a ternary operator. We are applying a string based on a condition. And you see now here what happens when I click the start button. Refresh. Yeah. I click the start button. It will change to stop. Now only one thing you have to do. On stop click, you need to stop this now. You have to stop that. That means now again you have to write a condition. What is the condition? If button text is stop, then timer we have to clear interval. Understand? We have to clear interval. Clear interval start. On toggle you have to write the logic. So we can implement this because this type of toggling you will see later everywhere. Suppose you see a drop down. Once click up arrow, again click down arrow, sort ascending, sort descending. Have you seen it? Once click ascending order, again click descending order. These are implemented by using toggle mechanism. So you need to finish designing this stopwatch. Design exactly how you see in Google. You just Google stopwatch, you will find a layout, exactly design it. Understood? You have to try that. If you can do, that's good. The reset is normal. When I click reset, all values must be set to 0. Again, everything should set to 0. You need to try that. So this is one example of a stopwatch. And if you can try that with your CSS knowledge, because you need lot of CSS, with your CSS knowledge, we can create analog clocks. Analog clocks. At little bit high level interviews, they ask to design such things. For web developers, they ask you design because if anybody wants to test your skills in all HTML, CSS, JavaScript and React, then because he need to know how much great you are in your styling and HTML, he will ask you to design a analog clock. You see? So analog clock. Analog clock, you can see analog clock widgets will be there. You see analog clock widget. So this is an online. This is online analog clock widgets will be there. Online, yeah. Widgets actually they will provide. This is digital clock. I click on analog, then you see the analog clocks will be like this. They ask you to design like this. Analog clocks, they ask you to design like this. Here, your complete CSS will be tested. Why? Because you need to create those lines. You need to make them rotate. And if a person can do this, think that he will get a job. That means there is nothing else to do. This is enough, right? That means he is good in CSS, he is good in HTML and good in logic. If he can do this. Here two types are there. See the digital, this is digital one. Digital one. We can design like this also. It requires little bit CSS styling. It requires little bit CSS styling. Slide from bottom to top, slide from right to left. These are all keyframes. Huh? We can apply simple keyframes and display such. Right? So you have more time to understand and design like that. Whenever time permits in a separate session, I will explain such type of examples. Right? So because those now you have to try with your CSS and other knowledge you have to try, but in class, whenever time permits additionally, such examples I will give. Okay. But 1-2 examples I will provide, others you need to try. Yeah. Try doing this first, then later we will discuss other options. Okay. Now this is a stopwatch and how to design the stopwatch. This is an example. And in this you add more functionality. Yeah? you add more functionality. So these are all timer events. What are the timer events you have learned? Set time out. Another one is what? Clear timeout. Clear timeout. We have what? Set interval. Another one, clear interval. Clear interval. These are the options we have. Now once you know this, we discussed about all the events. One more events are there. They are not required for you. They are required for the people who are learning Android iOS development. People who learn Android and iOS development means people who learn mobile apps. Mobile apps also use React. Mobile applications use React frontend, and for that they don't use React. Actually, they use a concept of what? React Native. React Native is used for building mobile interface, mobile. But only React Native will not build mobile apps, because React is not for building apps. Na? React is for building user interface for applications, not apps. React cannot build apps. It needs support of lot of frameworks. Huh? And people who learn Android, iOS like development, those people learn this React Native. At the end, I will give an introduction for that. These are for mobile apps, Android, iOS. You can build Android, iOS, but for that you need knowledge of Android, iOS. You should learn Android, iOS, then you can implement them. Otherwise, no use. Many people are very excited without knowing the concept. Like they ask, like, will you teach mobile app development in React? That's like joke. What do you think mobile app development means? React will develop mobile apps. Huh? First, you have to know what it is, concept is. React will not develop mobile apps. Mobile apps are built by using what? Android and iOS. React can build UI for mobile apps. In such case, one special is very popularly used events. We have touch events. Touch events. In JavaScript also you might have learned touch events. What are the touch events? We have on touch start. We have like on touch end. On touch end. We have like on touch move. These are frequently used touch events. These events you cannot practice if you don't have a touch screen device. If you have touch screen device, you can try them. So this requires touch screen. If you have touch screen, you can try them. Actually, on touch start, on touch end, on touch move, these are related to touch screen. When people are working on mobile apps, majority of events will be touch. Na? That means you slide left, slide right, zoom in, pinch to zoom in, zoom out. All such are touch events. JavaScript have touch events. But even you learn about them, you cannot try them until or unless you have a touch screen device. And how do we do that? Just example I will show you. Suppose how the touch works. One simple point. I will add here touch demo, and we are having touch demo .jsx. So we have export function touch demo and return a simple div class container fluid. Okay, I think we have some pictures in our public. Two images are there. I will keep image. One is source is we have iPhone green, and this is width is some 300, height also some 400. Okay. We have two images here, iPhone green and iPhone pink. So you see, I will keep this in the startup. Now touch demo, and here these are the images we are having. that is dot jpg. Okay, here also dot jpg. These are the images we are having, and I think iPhone white, yes, white. Okay, white jpg. These two images are there. What is the concept is, when I touch them, I want details about them. That means when I touch them, I want the details about them to display. So that means through my touch screen, if I touch them, not with mouse. So mouse uses a click event. When I touch with touch screen, I want details about that. Then what we do, we will put a paragraph or a heading below roughly. We will put here constant MSG, set MSG is equal to use state. It's an empty message. We will keep the message inside the heading. Inside the heading, we will keep message. That message will be changing when you touch. So function handle touch. On touch, so we will get the MSG. So I will get the message. And here I will use the message here, set MSG as what? Message. Now tell me how to pass custom arguments, events. Still we are in event binding only. We will discuss more about event binding. We will learn about event binding. In event binding, we have default arguments. We have default arguments. Default arguments, how to access? E dot target. Through E dot target, we will get the element related details. Element related details. For example, you see here we will use E, and here we will get E dot target dot what? Suppose I have SRC. SRC means it will get the source. That means on image we have to use handle touch. But one problem is that touch events don't have the arguments same like other events you have learned. Other event arguments, what you learned is other event arguments E dot what? Client X, E dot what? Client Y, E dot what? Key code, E dot what? Which we learned all these now. And E dot what? Target. But touch events are little different. Touch events are little different. For example, you see, let's copy this first, log them. Console.log E. E refers to what? Event argument. Handle touch on this image. On touch. On touch start. On touch start, handle touch. Similarly, on touch start, it has to handle touch. We have to define that. Okay, let's see now. Let's open the console. In the console, we'll open the console. In the console, you see I click on it, drag on it, nothing is done. When I use my touch screen, that means I touch with my touch screen, then it will get the details. And you can try only if you have a touch screen device. Otherwise, there is no use. Right now, when I touch, you see the event arguments. See the event arguments, Alt key, Control key, all are okay, no problem. Observe carefully. Here it is having target is image. Target is image, and you see it is having some different event arguments. You will not find client X, client Y. Understood? Actually, in other events, directly you have E dot what? Client X, E dot what? Client Y. But here it is not having. Okay, let's do one more here. In the console, we will access E dot what? Target. If I say E dot target, observe carefully. When I touch, you see the target is image. Suppose I am using e.target.src. Am I right? Target.src. That means what it has to get when I select, it should get the image path. Na? SRC will get the image path. You know, image is also having an alt. Am I right? Alt means alternate text to display when image fails to load. Alternate text to display. Suppose here I have given iPhone green. I'm just giving like this. iPhone green 128 GB, some 6999, like this I given. So I given some like this, and you see now here, when I touch that, it should get that and display. For that, what you do, instead of SRC, I will give what? Alt. Then what will happen is, when I touch that, it should get the alternate text and show. And this alternate text, what we have to do, we have to display in the message. Na? Just what we have to do, set MSG. What is it? E dot target dot what? Alt. Target dot alt. That's it. That means here I given something like RS something, or here I have some ampersand hash 8377 semicolon like this. Now what is the point is, when I touch that green, then it should get that and show. And same thing, I need to put an alternative for this one also. For second image, I use iPhone, what is it? White, and it is like 256 GB, and its price is something like 74, something like this. And observe here now, I am using my touch screen. Through touch screen I touch, it should get that and it should show the details. It will not now respond to click or mouse over. It will work and respond only to the touch. These kind of events are very popular to use using touch. So these are tried using touch devices. You cannot try them until or unless you have a touch. Actually, these are specially used by people who are building mobile apps. So because mobile apps continuously requires a lot of interactions using touch. They respond to clicks. So but every click is a touch. Through the touch they have to handle. For that, this is one simple example to understand. So you can try this. If you have touch devices, you can practice this, right? So generally, this all comes under the events. So finally, I will give the summary what you learned about the basic events list. What are the events categories you have learned? You have learned about mouse events. In that, what will come? On mouse over. Another one, on mouse out. Another one, on mouse over, down. Another, on mouse up. One more is on mouse move. These are mouse events. We have keyboard events. Keyboard events, on key up. Another, on key down. Another one, on key press. These are events. Next, you have learned about button events. What are the button events? On click. Another one, on double click. Another one, on context menu. Context menu means right click. I showed you how to disable right click and all. Clipboard events, na? Clipboard events, what you have? On cut, on copy. Another one, on paste. These are clipboard events. Huh? Okay, next we have learned one more. What is it? Element state events. Huh? Element state events. What we have? On change, on focus. Another one, on blur. We discussed about touch events just now. Touch events, on touch start, and on touch end. Another one is on touch move. Touch start, touch and touch move are major. Another we discussed about timer events. Timer events. So set time out, clear time out. Another one set interval. Another one is clear interval. Another very important we have, that is form events. One more important is form events. Actually, form events in your JavaScript, you have two form events called on submit and on reset. On reset. These are two general form events. Generally, these events in JavaScript we write for form element. For form element, we write on submit and on reset. This is very important when you are trying to submit the form data to server. In the later level, we will learn backend integration. Backend integration means how to connect with backend database. When we learn backend technologies, database integration, this will play the key role. Because whatever the data you collected from the form, you need to submit to the server. You need to submit to the APIs. For that, we need two important events, submit and reset. Reset will reset the form data and submit will submit. Actually, form by default have submit. If form by default have submit, why you need again submit event? Because we want some additional functionality to perform. Now, form events, we have two important events. One is on submit, another one is what? On reset. Actually, what is the purpose? Form is a generic element that provides submit and reset actions by default. And what we need to do here, if you want any functionality to trigger on submit and reset, then you can configure custom form events. Generally, we write like this. For form, we have to write on submit is equal to function. On reset is equal to some function. These are the events written for form. These are the events written for form. Form on submit and reset. In the next topic, we are going to learn about forms. There you will detailedly see this. So once you know the events, the next topic is how to handle forms in React, which is a very big concept. And there you will see how to use these events. As of now, simple point is when you write submit and reset, like suppose you see, I will simply design one form. I am creating a form, and in the form we are having some data list, data terms, some username, and we will collect the username. Input type is equal to what? Text. Now later we will write the logic to collect the data, submit and all, we will see later, because that is the next topic we are going to discuss, how to collect the data from form and all. We will put a button. Button is having a submit. Now what is the problem here is, by default I entered some name. Actually this element text have a name called user name. By default what happens, I entered some name and click on submit without writing any functionality. Automatically it have a functionality, it submits the data. I don't want this to happen. We learned a solution. Na? What is it? We learned event bubbling and propagation, right? Bubbling is propagation. And how to prevent default? So what we have to do now, I want to stop the default functionality and I have to perform a custom functionality. We need to write one event for the form. What is it? On submit. On submit, it should call a function. We will write a function called handle submit. And E refers to event argument. Here it should fire up which one? Handle submit. Form by default have a submit functionality. We need to disable it. Then what to do? E dot what? Prevent a default. It will prevent the default submit. And we can perform any functionality. I will simply say form data posted to server. This is our own functionality. Now what will happen is when I enter some data and click on submit, it will not do the default functionality. It will just do the work I given and it will stop. Previously it is submitting in the URL. Now it will not do that. How to collect the data, use it. That is the next topic you are going to learn. How to work with forms. But form have two events. What are those? On submit and on reset. When reset button is clicked, what action to perform? On submit button click, what action to perform? These generally we write using on submit and reset. This we are going to learn in next topic detailedly. So I will just give a basic example which I already given. Prevent default already I showed you. So we have to learn about the forms now detailedly about the forms, and we need to learn some more points about event, like how event can send custom arguments, how to write event handlers in different ways in React. That we will see in tomorrow's session, right? Tomorrow's session is very important because we are going to learn the concept of forms now. Using third-party forms, designing forms, collecting data from forms, submitting to server, all these things we are going to see. How we have to work with forms. By tomorrow, you try to design that stop clock and submit in the lab. Tomorrow, I will give you some more tasks. Into the lab group, I will post some more tasks which are asked in interviews. Those tasks you need to try by using timer options. Okay, tomorrow we'll see, right?